Noah, why are you making me talk about the Browns for the third day in a row? It's bye week, brother.
You don't wanna complain about Kevin Stefanski?
I'm in. It is bye week, but that does not mean that the news stops. We have some media reaction clips. I love doing this show because we get to take a look around Cleveland, sometimes nationally, and see what the rest of the media is saying in regards to usually our beloved Browns. In this case, it's all Browns. The media has been on fire because the Browns have not been on fire unless it's a dumpster fire. I'm ready to roll. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling a little legendary with my Shedeur shirt on today to prelude what is going to be the first clip and what I think a lot of the conversation is going to be this week and next in terms of the local media. And we know that's all they talk about with the national media and the Browns in one Shedeur Sanders. So I'm going to play this clip real quick from Tony Rizzo's show to get us started.
Chris, I've heard from people around the league that cannot believe the Browns have not prepared Shedeur Sanders to play, and they're 2-6, and it's what are you waiting for? Are you waiting till you're 2-12 when it doesn't mean anything? And
Riz,
then who cares?
it doesn't mean anything now. You're 2-6. You're not going
So
anywhere.
what are they waiting for?
I don't know. Now is a perfect time to make the change. Does anybody really think running Dylan Gabriel out there he's going to get better? The answer is no. So why not make the change? You have 2 weeks to prepare Shedeur.
They
And
won't do it.
of course they won't, because nothing they have done starting since the end of the year last year at the quarterback position has
Makes
made
any sense.
Nothing has made
And
sense.
for that reason alone, Chris.
I'm laughing because I actually agree with the takes completely, but the sound effects are like they hired a 12-year-old to use a soundboard. I'm not sure what's going on there with the applause and then the booing. It's a little weird. Takes me out of it. But yeah, I completely agree. What are they waiting for? His line about "Are you waiting to be 2-12" is perfect because I don't know what they're waiting for either. And his co-host, whoever that is, that gentleman is absolutely right that it's already over now. Like, what's the point? What are we trying to salvage anyway? Why not see what we have? I don't understand this quarterback situation. It's been mismanaged from the beginning, and I just don't get it.
Well, we had a famous beat reporter, and I'm reserving until we get through this. I'm letting you rant. I'm letting you have your big one. We have a beat reporter, a Hall of Fame beat reporter here in Cleveland named Mary Kay Cabot, and she asked Kevin Stefanski the direct question of, why don't you play Shador Sanders to see if it at least starts a spark on this offense? This was his response.
Focus is where we are right now, Mary Kay. That's not my focus.
I'm letting you go, brother, because I know that one pissed you off.
You know what? I'm not even mad. And the reason that I'm not mad is that that man will not have a job at the end of the season. So I don't need to. I'll pull my punches a little bit because everything he does and says, it's funny. You defended him for years, and you liked this. You said he doesn't owe anything to the media. You might still feel that way,
I
but
do.
it's frustrating, isn't it? It's
Oh,
frustrating because
100%. Yeah.
there's no accountability. There's been no accountability at the top. There's been no accountability after Deshaun Watson. There's no accountability for this team, and there needs to be some. Yeah, we can't hold Jimmy Haslam accountable. We can do it with our money. We can vote with our dollars, but otherwise, we can't hold him accountable. We could damn well hold Andrew Berry accountable. We can damn well hold Kevin Stefanski accountable, but we haven't seen it yet, and that's why the fan base and media is growing more and more disillusioned, frustrated, and soon probably hostile because we're all sick of it.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there at the end with the hostile moment. I was at the Browns Bengals game last season when Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles. There was cheers, there were boos. He got booed out of the tunnel. I booed him running out of the tunnel before the injury, of course. I was all the way fed up with Deshaun at that point. That being said, this fan base has no regard, no disregard of hostility. They will gladly go out there and be hostile. If he goes into the Ravens game after stinking it up against a bad Jets defense and a bad Jets offense, it is going to be a hostile environment. The amount of "we want Sanders" chants compared to just the garbage time when we beat Miami, the amount of boos as soon as a pass isn't thrown to a wide open receiver, it's going to be absolutely horrible for this kid's confidence to even claim his perennial backup, great backup role that some have already wanted to give him as well. It's going to be an absolute mess.
And it's warranted. Listen, Cleveland is still a blue collar town. We have people that wake up at 5 a.m. to go into work and do a tough job, and their only solace in that is to come home to a wonderful family and sit down and watch the Browns. Well, when that's a miserable experience for you and your one of 2 days off is now turned into sour grapes, I get why people are hostile.
Yeah.
It ruins your day. I mean, I try not to let it ruin my day. It certainly ruins during the game time. But anything after that, I'm kind of okay because I just push on until we bring it up again for the next 3 days. Uh, but I get it, like this is what makes these fans so great. We're so passionate. And what are they giving us? I mean, they're giving us nothing.
No, that's it to a T, man. And you talk about it ruining people's days, and we don't have to get into this whole can of worms, but think of how fun it is when your sports team's doing good. And yeah, sure, your day's maybe not ruined. You're not that sad. Like, okay, I'm gonna go watch the other football games. But this season, where we're at right now, and the general vibe of day to day life with the Browns sucking compared to, say, even just the Joe Flacco run, night and day difference in terms of the mood. And you can see it in the city. You can see it
Yeah.
at the Muni lot when they come back and it's dwindling out more and more compared to when people are lined up on Thursday to get into their Muni lot spot for the first game of the season.
Yeah, it's like the Cleveland shuffle. You're shuffling your feet and you're just kind of moving along because you're over it.
Can I ask you one more question, Eric?
Sure.
Are you on the Play Shedeur? Just so we could put that cemented take out there, because I'm on Play Shedeur at this
Yeah,
point.
obviously. I think I said it yesterday. I think I've said it the day before. Yes, absolutely.
I'm just making sure we make this abundantly clear, especially because you don't always get perceived as that is your take when
Well,
it
I,
is, in
I don't
fact,
know
your
where
take.
that comes from. I've always liked Shador. Well, I shouldn't say that. I hated him in college. I'm not a fan of his dad. I don't like the boisterous talk. But since he's been in Cleveland, we haven't seen any of that. He's just put his head down and worked. So he's earned my respect big time. But I want to be clear too is on this because I'm not saying that Shador Sanders is going to go in, start the game, and light it up. That's not my expectation for him. I just want to see something different. And at this point, I know that what we have in Dylan Gabriel, he's not our future starting quarterback in this league. So why not move on and see what we have in somebody that's ready to play and is athletic?
I'm with you 100% on that, Eric. And I think that's a great question for a guy that is the GM of our team. Let's see when he is going to be taking his next media appearance.
I think the thing that makes it weird is the fact that he's done it every single year since they have been here. The thing that doesn't make it weird is that most other GMs don't do it. When you look around the AFC North, most of those guys don't come out and speak at the bye week. And it's not a common thing that necessarily happens around the league. A lot of times, NFL teams will want their coach to be the spokesman for the football team during the season, and then the GM talks at other various points, pre-draft and in training camp and whatnot, combine and owners meetings. But during the season, a lot of teams want their coach to just be front and center and not have someone else out there talking. So they made their decision this year to do it this way. And I know they're getting pushback on it and people are confused about it. And maybe they'll change it up again next year, but this is what they decided to do.
Which give us a little context there, Noah, what she's talking about, what they decided to do.
Yeah, so Andrew Barry, typically in his entire time as Browns GM, has taken the time during the bye week to come out answer questions at the media. It's been the norm for this franchise since he stepped foot into the GM's office. Now, with potential roster moves around upon the horizon and trades that have already happened, you're talking about Campbell coming in, obviously getting rid of Newsom, bringing in a tackle, all of the controversy that this season has already held as well because of the thought process in some of the drafts with taking two quarterbacks and why was Dylan taken so high despite having a great draft. We're just not getting anything from him this week, which is the NFL norm according to Mary Kay, but You gotta nut up and talk, man.
Yeah, it might be the NFL norm, but I like this from Andrew Berry. I like not this year, what he's done in the past. It's kind of the state of the union. He is the guy that makes a lot of decisions that affect this team, and he knows that. And the reality is, he doesn't have answers, Noah. He knows what he's going to be asked. He doesn't have answers for it. He might as well prescript the questions like some of our presidential debates allegedly do so that he could get a jump on him early and get asked what he wants to get asked. Listen, that's all it is. He is ducking this. He ducked it last week too, when he was just pushing Kevin in front of it, even though he was getting questions. He's not giving media time at all. And the agenda here seems clear. I think Kevin is going to fall on his sword at the end of this season. I think, or maybe thrust from Andrew Barry. My point is, like, I think Andrew Barry is okay in terms of ownership. I don't think Kevin Stefanski is. And I've heard it said the other way. I've heard that ownership still is really high on Stefanski. There's clearly a rift and a shift happening, and there's 2 sides here, and if I had to put my money behind one of the sides surviving at the end of this year, it's gonna be Andrew Berry.
Right now, it is Andrew Berry 110%. And honestly, I do think it makes a little bit of sense with where our bye week stands that maybe Andrew Berry doesn't want to talk in the media as well. I'm playing benefit of the doubt right now. I'm a little frustrated with this because why change the status quo when there's a lot of controversy and questions going on right now? Um, that being said, next week is the trade deadline. So maybe Andrew doesn't want to go out and speak in the media right before about trades, about what trades are going to happen and hinder what kind of deals he might be working with behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's that early, though. Our bye week last week was week 10, or
You
last
mean
year
last year?
rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was week 10. I know that's into November at that point, but I get what you're saying, but I just think it's an excuse. I think he doesn't want to go out in front of this media and this fan base, and rightfully so in a way, but I think that they owe us more, that's for sure.
So is this a detriment to him in your mind then? Is this like a bad move? Do you think this puts him further in your mind if you were the decision maker to can just the whole thing and start over, new GM, new coach, new whatever?
No, I think he's battening down the hatches a little bit. And in his position, if it is tenuous at all, I think not saying things or not giving non answers to hostile questions is better than going up there and not really having answers. Because the fact is, we know the answers to our questions. Why isn't Shedeur playing? If he's going to be asked that, it's because our coach is stubborn. Um, he wasn't the guy. He didn't want him. I mean, those are the answers. Those are things he can't say, though. So
Right.
we know the answers to these questions. Some of them don't have answers. Like, why didn't we shore up the O line? Nothing good could come of it, in my opinion. So I think he's making the right move. I don't think it moves ownership any closer to firing him. What you have to understand and what fans have to understand, both with Stefanski and with Andrew Barry, is that the public perception means nothing. It means a little bit more when it comes to the coach, but it means next to nothing because we don't understand or know the internal communication and relationships between the Haslams and these two men. Um, it's harder than you think to just move on. You know, if Jimmy Haslam is really close with Andrew Barry and believes in the plan, moving on from that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I want you to remember that when you get fiery over a stupid loss, because we'll have another stupid loss this season, and you come on screaming, fire everybody. And I tell you what you just said out of your mouth. I just want you to put that one in the memory bank so you
No,
remember
no.
later.
I've always known that. What I'm saying is when I say fire everybody, I'm saying you should fire everybody. That doesn't mean I think it will happen or that it could happen. I understand that there's more involved and there's office politics at the end of the day too. I know it sounds silly because we're talking about football, but this is a giant office and a giant business. Um, but when I say fire everybody, that's the best course of action for the Browns. I saw something the other day, real quick, Noah, that was talking about you cannot overcome ineptitude of ownership. and it was referring to the Jets, not the Browns, which could be the only dysfunctional organization more than the Browns, more dysfunctional.
Right
But
now,
I
maybe.
agree with that. Everything starts at the top, and trying to overcome some of the things that Jimmy, think of the things that he stepped in on and personally mandated, whether it's Johnny Manziel, whether it's Deshaun Watson. These are mega decisions that have impacted us for years. So to try to overcome ownership in those moments and expect us to win, I don't know what we're supposed to expect at this point.
That is the big picture indeed. And speaking of big picture and the big picture of this roster moving forward, we had a debate last week about some trade candidates. There's been some roster moves going on. There's been some different things that have happened with this loss this past weekend
You can get
that,
out ahead of it and just say that I'm right.
well, let me play the clip.
What did you make of the two tight ends they acquired yesterday? And do you think it means that David Njoku is on his way out of town?
Well, it sure appears that way. Why would you stock up with two more tight ends when there are no apparent injuries in that tight ends room? You still have, of course, Harold Fannin, Blake Whiteheart, and then you add two more, and then there's Njoku. And it's amazing how, we've been all impressed about Harold Fannin, and rightly so, but he has just taken over as the number one tight end.
Right.
And Njoku missed the game with a knee injury, but the numbers suggest that Fannin is now number one in targets and in snaps, in catches, and in yardage.
You made fun of the soundboard in the last one, Eric. What are we doing with the music with our boy Tony Grossi? I don't even know if I want to say our boy, but you know what I mean.
I didn't mind that one as much for some reason. I don't know. I was kind of into it. David is likely gone. I said that we probably should move on from him because the likelihood of us re-signing him next year is small. We disagreed on that, but it's looking like they're making roster moves that would prove that factual. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe they're the only ones. All we do is run like 5 yard routes. That's the only thing that we throw. So maybe they're just going to trot out all tight ends and see what happens. Maybe that'll make a difference. Just a bunch of curl routes.
Whole lot of big bodies. Just everybody get big, catch it, and fall to the ground right away. We're just going to dink and dunk all the way down more than we already are. I want to talk real
Yeah.
quick about the two guys they brought in. One is Caden. I'm not even going to butcher his last name because he is a practice squad player, former all SEC tight end from Ole Miss, also played at Memphis, 6'6, 250 pounds, 26 years of age. He's been in the league here and there, bounced around. He was on the Bucks practice squad last. We released Amani Marshall, the running back, to bring him in. So, little practice squad move, kind of taking up some of that space behind. And then we claimed Brandon Bates off of the Houston, Texans, that is, practice squad. He's 6'5, 255, 26 years old. He was with us for a little bit on our practice squad last year. He seems to be what will be the third tight end if they do end up moving from Njoku. And as much as it pains me to say, and as much as I do think the ability and the thought process of keeping Njoku and keeping him as a culture guy on this Cleveland Browns roster makes sense for the long term health of the locker room, it does seem like that's the direction that they are moving right now. And we'll see if something comes to fruition or if this is just in case something happens, we want to claim our guys now while we don't have to worry too much about the roster construction because there's not a game this Sunday.
You know who Caden Prescorn looks like, in my opinion?
That's how you say it. It's pre-scorn.
That's what I'm going with.
Okay, fair enough. No, I don't know what he looks like.
He kind of looks like Rob Gronkowski.
Oh God,
Have
don't
you
make
seen?
comparisons now.
No, I know, but have you seen him? He's only one number off too. He's 86 to Gronkowski's 87, but he kind of looks like him, like in the face.
Interesting. No, I didn't really look at him, if I'm being honest, considering he is, in fact, a practice squad player. But if he makes some noise, maybe we'll end up getting and giving away one of his jerseys at some point, as we do so many of those giveaways here. Are you surprised by any of these moves? Obviously not, right? Based off of what you said last week.
I still am a little bit, just because I thought that I don't know. I thought these moves would be made after the trade deal was in place, or maybe it is in place and we just don't know that piece of it yet. We have 2 weeks a week and a half into our next game. So anything's really on the table at this point. But no, like overall, not surprised. I think the moves make sense. Um, we'll see. I think it really indicates that Njoku is gone, though.
Eric, you talk about how it's going to be next week. We have a week and a half, but it's Tuesday, November 4th at 4 p.m. is when this deadline
Yeah.
hits. So we could see trades come through as quick as Sunday, Monday, even hey, tomorrow at the time of recording. Maybe there's a trade going on right now. Like we are very close to this deadline, and maybe they're making those moves because they're just talking about the nitty gritty right now for Njoku. I will gladly say, real quick, that well, gladly isn't the best word, but I will say I am a huge David Njoku fan myself, so I don't want to see it happen. But if it does happen, it's a good move. Of course, I will put my fandom to the side and talk about it with you if that time does come. But this move, these moves, adding these tight ends, does make it very, very interesting.
I like him too, for the record. That said, I think he is the most athletic non-athletic person ever to play in that position. Like think of what we've gone through with Njoku. He has freak athleticism, and yet he was stone hands when he started, and I don't know that it's such a big loss for us. But we'll talk about that if and when it comes. That said, I am getting ahead of myself because in a week and a half, that following Sunday, we're going to be live. We have some live shows coming up. We'll be at High and Dry to preview that Browns game against the Jets, going live at noon right up until about game time. But we're going to be hanging out. We'll play a little mini bowling. We'll be there having fun. So come join us, have a cocktail or a beer with us. And then after that, we'll be in Muni Lot. We'll be at our friend's camper. Look for our at the office flag flying high. We'll be there at it's not 10:30. This graphic's wrong because it's a 4:35 start. So probably like 2, 1,
Time
something like
TBD.
that.
We haven't really talked about it yet, to be completely fair, to figure out exactly what time Eric and I want to do. And I keep forgetting to text him about it. Eric started a new job this week. I've been very busy with work this week, so apologies for the wrong time, real quick. But we will be at the Muni lot. We will be at our friend's camper, like Eric said.
Yeah, so make sure you join us and just check our socials. You'll see it. Speaking of socials, though, you should probably follow us on YouTube and leave a comment because we're giving away a jersey, Noah.
We are giving away a jersey. Any Browns or Cavs player jersey of your choice, you get to pick the jersey. We will ship it to your door. All you got to do is subscribe and leave a comment here on the At the Office YouTube page. Winner will be chosen November 17th.
And if you really want David Njoku for some reason, we might be able to get it on sale. So that's fine. You could still pick him even if he's gone. I jest, of course. But yeah, fun little giveaway. We've done it twice now. This is our third giveaway with a jersey, and it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's great to get interaction and people talking and stuff when we're doing these live shows, and great way to bring people in. Listen, Eric, we are moving on from Browns now. I promise. We are going to talk a little Cavs, a little Buckeyes the rest of the week here. But until while we leave and let the Cleveland Browns rest a little bit, I just want to remind everybody that it's time to be legendary.
And on that note, the debate never ends, but the show does for now. We'll see you next time.